Hey guys, it's Corrie and I'm here with the next part of the rainbow series. The color today is yellow, which is really, I gotta tell you, one of my favorite colors ever. I think if anyone said, hey, what's your favorite color? I would definitely choose blue, but this yellow is, there's something about it, I just love it. Now, of course, I can't wear it. I look terrible in yellow, but the color itself, I just think is gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I had this idea. I like these large brush strokes. I found, I think it was actually a Bible journaling page on Instagram that somebody did that was just gorgeous. And they had these like really cool kind of transparent yellow brush strokes on their Bible journaling page, and it looked really neat. So I figured that would be like maybe a cool way to start this scrapbook layout. So I'm just using a couple different color watercolor paints, and I'm trying not to get it too juicy because, you know, I am using cardstock and I don't want to, you know, get like that weird, you know, furry look to it or whatever. So I'm just trying to be real careful. And then I did let that dry completely because it's watercolor. And then I'm going to go and use a little bit of acrylic paint and just kind of layer that on that. So I'm getting some white and then just a little bit of this yellow Dina Wakley paint that came in an old hip kit, and just mixing that together so that I have like a very light yellow. And I'm going to actually just apply that with a palette knife. So I didn't have, like, I was going through stash. I don't have a ton of yellow stuff, which I probably have yellow pattern paper, but like I don't think I even looked in my pattern paper. Oh no, I take that. I didn't look in my yellow pattern paper. I'm gonna use a yellow cardstock, and I'm also going to use one yellow pattern paper, but they came out of last month's hip kits, and I just pulled them because I was putting the June hip kits away because I had just gotten the July ones. So I just was pulling those away. I was like, oh, that's yellow, that'll work for my page. So that is all of the thinking that went into the pattern paper. I did not look. As far as embellishments and stuff go, I don't have a ton of stuff there. So I'm just gonna, you know, work with the few things that I've got that I found pretty quickly. Although this looks like it's brown, it's not. It's actually a gold. It's like a really cool gold paint, and I think it's just this lighting. I was actually filming this towards the end of the day and a storm was rolling in, so it looks a little bit darker than it actually is. So here I'm just going to add some drops. This is acrylic ink. I figured that would stay the best on top of this paint. And for the record, I did not let this dry well. It works out fine, but it actually ends up working almost like glue, which is hilarious because I didn't let it dry. So it helped me out with the whole gluing process, but that's okay. So this photo was actually of me and my husband on our anniversary this year. You know, we typically try to take like an anniversary trip, just the two of us. And so we did. We had one planned. We were supposed to go down to Rosemary Beach, and we had this cool carriage house rented and everything else. And it was pretty close to the beach. It was just gonna be the two of us for like 3 or 4 days. And every year we try to take a little trip someplace. Like it might only be a night, but we always try to take a trip, just the two of us, or something like that. So fast forward to 2018, and we just had so much stuff come up that we just decided that the right thing to do would be to not spend the money and everything else. So we opted to cancel our trip. Can you believe that? So this is the first year in all the years that we've been married that we have not gone someplace for our anniversary. So what we did instead on our anniversary, which happened to be on a Saturday, which is great, we sent our kids over to friends' houses to spend the night, and the two of us, we stayed in our little town. Now, I can walk from my house to the downtown area, so we walked downtown and we hit up our favorite restaurants for different things. So we went to one for like a cheese platter, and we went to another one because they have the best donuts in the entire world for dessert. So we went and got some donuts, and we went someplace else for some food. And so we like, well, you know, like a real food, not appetizers and not dessert. So we just wandered around town and did that, and it was a beautiful night, and there's a lot of stuff going on in our little square area, so it was really fun to just kind of sit there and watch everybody. I think we watched a music video being shot, and then of course there were just you know, like the local young people who get out and do little performances with hula hoops and other things like that, so it was really fun, and we just sat there and watched it. So although 2018 marks the year that we did not go someplace, we actually had a wonderful time. So this photograph is just while we were sitting on the bench and enjoying all the people around us. And it's got this really fun, like great golden light behind it, which is why I chose it for my yellow page. So the stuff I'm using on this page really is a weird hodgepodge of random stuff. So I used a stencil from an old hip kit, these paper stencil things, I don't know, maybe they were laser cut paper, but it was cool stuff, and I hadn't used the chevron pattern one for anything else. I found this great Love paper clip, which of course is white, but it works. I got some stickers from Felicity Jane, and now I'm just going to go through and see what kind of letter stickers I have in my stash. I found one set of yellow ones, which are from Jelly Bean Soup, and I really love those. I don't end up using them though because they just don't work. And I love these, but I was hoping that I could spell out you and me in just yellow ones, and I didn't have the U. So I could get the Y and the O, but I didn't want it to say yo and me. That seemed strange. So I didn't use those. These are actually gold, and I'm just going to use them for the date. And then I found some other Jelly Bean Soup stuff. I've got some heart puffy stickers I'm going to use. Of course, some enamel dots. That's an easy way to add just a little bit of texture and embellishments, and not having it be like really overpowering. I did find some cool buttons that were yellow, so I'm going to use those. And then I had this cool epoxy sticker that says you, and then I just used the me there. So of course, I'm stitching everything down just so it doesn't come up because, for one, the paint is actually still damp as I'm doing this. And so I don't know how well it's sticking, for one. And then also being put on top of that kind of chevron torn paper, things aren't adhering great. So I did want to stitch on whatever I could. And I actually did use hot glue to put these puffy stickers down, only because I really was concerned as to whether or not they were going to stick on top of that paint. I do love using these flare button things. I think it's always been one of my favorite deals in the entire world. But you know, I used to work at TGI Fridays. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, like, you know, 20 plus years ago, TGI Fridays, and they all wore those suspenders that had all the flare buttons all over them. Yeah, I was really proud of my suspenders. I had lots of flare on my suspenders when I worked there, and so I wonder if my love of flare is dated somewhat. Of course, you might not even remember back in the day when they used to wear flare, because I don't think it's the same anymore, but it was really it was very cool back 20 plus years ago. So anyhow, I had, before I actually started this page, cut like 3/4 of an inch off of that edge because I knew I wanted to layer some pattern paper underneath it. And nobody freak out, I am going to use this entire sheet of pattern paper behind my page, but I only did it because I actually have a whole second sheet, and you know what, I don't really use pattern paper that much, so for me to waste all this paper is really not such a big deal. So I layer that on there. Life is all good. Besides, it helps it so it's not so wrinkly. You know, there's lots of little perks. Nobody, you know, I know some people are very much against it. I should have cut the edge, but I wasn't going to use 2 sheets of this paper. It's all good. So I'm adding some journaling, which, yes, I put in pencil, but I like how it's just this gray. I really need to get a gray pen. But that is it. That's my yellow page, guys. It's all done. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, of course, leave them for me in the comment section. I'll be happy to get back with you. You know, in general, if anyone ever wants to scrap lift, my answer is always yes. Go for it. I never have a problem with that. And otherwise, you can find me creatively on Instagram. Thanks for stopping by.